head over to Millennium Park, see if they're doing any concert there. Hey Chris, how you doing? You able to see me there? I don't think so. Let's see here. We'll stay on a minute here. I'm just trying to going by Nando and Utella's here. I'll have to restart this stream again probably. But hey, no, we got people here. We got Ava. Hey, good. First time here. Mary Therese here. Ava, Chris. Yeah, we can see you. Good. We got a stream going. So thanks for being on early here. Yeah, we got mid 80s there. We got 85 degrees about. We got some wind here. Yeah, I'm gonna try this out first. I'm gonna go over to Millennium Park right away and see if they're doing a concert, and if they are, you know, they'll be practicing for their concert on Wednesday nights there, the Symphony in the park there, or the Grand Park Music Series. And then I can rest my feet and just sit there and film it. But if they're not practicing, we'll figure out something to do here. We'll rush to get across the street here. I saw the light just change here, but hey. We got July the 15th, 2025. There goes the one wheel there. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, you doing kid. And hey, you got the bike there delivering there. Michigan Avenue. Yeah, it feels like summertime. It's nice. DCG, Lamy T. West is tuning in there. Yeah, there's Randolph Street. So you know where we're at here, Millennium Park, same park we go to almost all the time here because it's easy, close to where I work here. Hey, get to selling the food here. We'll head around here. There's the cultural museum there, cultural center. Used to be the library. But hey, yeah, let's check out the beam, and then we'll see if they're doing a practice in the park. Tomorrow I checked. Now listen to this. Now I hope this is not a big letdown. You know, Daily Plaza, they're having something today, but I don't think it's going to be much, just like yesterday, which was nice. People were dancing there. Tomorrow they're actually going to have a boxing exhibition. They're going to have some, I'm hoping they actually have a boxing ring there in Daily Plaza, the way they're describing it, and they'll be having a demonstration of some of the local amateur boxing leagues in Chicago. That would be something to see at Daily Plaza. So again, weather permitting, tomorrow we may go back to Daily Plaza and check that out there. Yeah, I appreciate that, Nisi. You know, I'm pretty depressed about social media, and I don't expect you or anybody else to subsidize my lifestyle. I expect corporate America to subsidize my lifestyle, but they're so greedy and rich, and they keep so much profits, they force people like you to, you know, and I'm not getting rich doing this social media because I refuse to do the corporate branding. And I know Darren Monroe and other people would fault me for not being a good entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody wants to be a business person and promote their business endlessly and sell stuff. You know, I'm selling myself. So I guess I'm selling myself short. But, yeah, I appreciate all the good advice you give me, Nisi. You understand from my perspective, just 1,000 people tell me what to do all the time. And I know that's not your intention. We should do this. We should do that. Yeah, you should buy me some shoes. But I don't expect it. Hey, how you doing? You guy playing a guitar here? That's good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, SpongeBob, how you doing there? So I'm really hoping they're going to be doing a practice because I'm just getting tired. It doesn't matter. Next week I'm going to be traveling for work anyway, so I'll probably take most of the week off next week because it just doesn't work well when I try to stream from a hotel in a different city and everybody's confused, and I need to take a break anyway for my own mental health. And I think you guys will understand. Summertime, you know, people got their own lives and stuff like that. But yeah, it sounds like the Symphony's practicing here, so I'm hoping we're in luck here. Here's the Great Bean of Chicago. There, look at the nice street wall there behind there, how it reflects in there. But I'm really hoping the Symphony's practicing here, because then I can just sit and we can film a practice session and I don't have to walk around. Yeah, it sounds like they're practicing here. Yeah! Classical music here. So hey, welcome to Chicago Millennium Park here with the Pritzker Band Show. We'll just go down and we're gonna find us a seat. We're gonna film us a practice here. Thanks for tuning in here. Get to hear some live music here. And they'll start and stop, yeah. Yeah. Hey, welcome to Chicago here. Yeah, we're just going to watch the Symphony practice here. You see on the background there, the Grand Park Music Festival. They'll have it Wednesday and Saturday, 6:30 and 7:30 respectively. Hey, welcome to Chicago here with the Pritzker Band Show. See, we're underneath it here. And they're doing practicing for the Grand Park Music Festival. See it right there. Rehearsal in progress. You can go online and check this out for their whole summer concert series here. Sitting here in the chair. So we'll just listen to them rehearse here. you can check it out there. You can check out gpmf.org. I'm sure it'll tell you all about it if they're paid or volunteer, or you can find out more information there. Thanks for asking there. Good question. Thanks for the good information there, Michael. Yeah, players come from all orchestras all over the country for a 10-week season. This is Chicago. This is Grant Park, the Grant Park Music Festival here in Chicago. They're practicing here. And so they'll start and stop. They'll start and stop. And Just on my lunch break here, and we're just listening to a rehearsal here in Chicago. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see if they do another number for us here. See, we're in the Pritzker Band Show here. And then tomorrow night, Wednesday, 6:30, see on the board there, free concert. At 7:30 on Saturdays here, and they practice during the week. So it's easy for me to just come out here on my lunch break and get a seat in the shade, and on an 85-degree day here, just listen to the Symphony practice here. Inspiring music. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Chicago, Illinois, United States of America. Thanks for tuning in here. Wow, that's good, D. Michael. Yeah, Melody, Mr. Bones on tour. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Central Montana's tuning in there. Zoom Patrol. Michael, all the Michaels there. Stephanie, Augusta. Yeah, it's healing. Started in 1935. Isn't that amazing there? Thanks, Michael, for the good information there. Yeah, it's a... Okay, good. Okay. Good. Practicing for the Grand Park Music Festival here in Chicago, Illinois. Here we're in the Pritzker Pavilion here. Thank you. Hey, that was a flurry. Hey, I guess we're gonna take a break here. Take 5. Okay, it looks like they're breaking here, so I guess we'll keep moving here. So hey, thanks for checking us out here. 15 minutes there. We might circle back here, so Here, excuse me. Excuse me, buddy. That's good. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's good. So here, good. So good. So yeah, we just were checking out the Grant Park Music Festival rehearsal there. I guess they're gonna take 5 here. Maybe we'll come back and see if they. I guess they're gonna work on some solo parts or something here. But hey, yeah, we're in Millennium Park here. We got 85 degrees here. Hey, that was a good way to start. I got to 15 minutes there. Just got to sit in a chair there. And you know, they do go longer. I'm sure maybe they'll come back. Maybe we'll circle back through here. See, we're already at the Bean here, so we can head across the BP Bridge here and head towards Lakeshore East. That's probably what we're gonna do here. But here, we'll get you one more glimpse of the Bean here. Hey, that guy, I saw that guy there last time. He's got the guitar there. See, he's doing his own concert there. So hey, thanks everybody tuning in here. And yeah, we'll start moving around here. It actually is pretty pleasant. I mean, you know, see, there's the big clouds here, so it is warm in the sun, but in the shade, it just feels like a warm summer day. 85 degrees, it's not overbearingly hot. And we might get some rain in 70s there, but that's where we were at there, the Pritzker Pavilion there. Frank Gehry's the architect, of course, of this. Frank Gehry is titanium. Very deconstructivist. Postmodern times two. Here's the Great Bean of Chicago there it is. So you know where we're at here. Yeah, Millennium Park here. Let's get a nice shot of it there. But instead of heading over there, because we see the Bean almost every day, we'll head across here and we'll check out the let's check out the Lurie Gardens. We haven't seen the Lurie Gardens. Let's see how the flowers are doing. And then we'll head across the bridge here and we'll head into Lakeshore East here. So yeah, the space age, that's what it looks like. We're living in the future. That's why they called it Millennium Park, right? There it is, just like Balboa Museum in Spain there, Frank Gehry, and the Disney Music Center there in LA. There's a lot of Frank Gehry stuff. It was built around early 2000s all over the world. I don't know what he's up to now. Here's the yeah, there's some of the skyline of Chicago here. So I wonder later they'll have checkpoints, it looks like. Yeah, let's head into the Lurie Gardens here. See, they got this closed. They have it closed Mondays and Tuesdays because the Art Institute's closed Mondays and Tuesdays because it's open on weekends. It's what the union does there. But they'll open that up Wednesday through Sunday. So we'll head around this hedge. We'll check out the Lurie Gardens. There's bees over here. There's beehives. Can you even see the beehives from here? Yeah, trust me, there's beehives. You can see them from the bridgeway there. We're behind the plants here. See, look at all the, I'm sure they got to water these plants there. It's been pretty dry. There's some bees there. Here, we'll head around. We'll head right through the hedge here. Yeah, today's yesterday's future. We're living in the future. You got to go back to the future. But hey, we'll go through the hedge. Here's the Lurie Gardens here. So hey, we'll check out the flowers. Look how nice it looks here when they're all growed up here. It'll be like this the rest of the summer. We got all these beautiful tall grass, naturalistic prairie flowers here. Lurie Gardens, we see this in all the parks. Jackson Park has them, Lincoln Park, all these areas, they grow up into the natural tall grass prairie. Can you believe, imagine, you know, of course the indigenous Native Americans knew about this stuff because they lived amongst it for thousands of years, but when the first Europeans discovered Iowa and the prairies where the trees ended, because it was just vast woodlands and forests there all east of Mississippi, the Appalachian Mountains. But once you got crossing Illinois, Iowa, before you get to Council Bluffs, Omaha there in Nebraska, they would get the tall grass natural prairie, and they said the grass would grow as tall as the horse's eyes, and they called it a desert because they couldn't imagine living there in this tall grass where they felt like Alice in Wonderland. These tall prairie flowers would grow up, and it was hard for them to navigate their horses and stuff. But that's some of the most arable, productive farmland in the world, the breadbasket of America. Iowa, southern Minnesota, Kansas, eastern Nebraska, and of course Illinois and Missouri, northern Missouri. It's just some of the most productive arable land, and it used to look like this. It used to, you know, now it's all plowed under, fertilized, monoculture, you know, and so we're learning the beauty of the diversity of these flowers. And so the bees can sit there and get the nectar, and no, we don't have an ecological collapse. But here we'll head around here, and I'm oversimplifying it, of course. But see, sitting in a garden there, so you can look back to the towers there, even the Sears Tower there. Look how tall the grasses get there with the tall towers there. It's kind of a nice juxtaposition there. Yeah. So yeah, we got videos of O-Block there. If you check out my top 2 pin there, because everybody asks about it every single day. We've gone to Parkway Gardens, we've gone to 63rd. I've ridden the bike underneath the L tracks there. We've gone to the King Von mural. We know about the hotel there, and we went down to Al Capone's residence, the house he bought for his mother and his wife in 1923, which is in Grand Crossing, which is only like 7 blocks south of O-Block. We rode a bike there. So there you go. I know it's amazing how much O-Block is in the consciousness of people outside of Chicago. Of course, most people in Chicago are over it. Since Odie Perry was murdered 15 years ago, we have to talk about it every single day, and we talk about it over and over again, and no one ever gets tired about talking about it. It's amazing. Here's Blue Cross Blue Shield building. I'm not trying to diminish it. It's amazing that how until I started live streaming, I didn't realize how much it was in the consciousness of the general public. And it shows you the power of hip-hop music to spread narratives, and it's good. Here's Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's the Aon building. There's the Prudential building. But here we're heading across the BP bridge here, and yeah, if we could see the bean. If only we could see the bean. Yeah, you know, no one ever wants to see the bean. I got what you're saying, Scott. But hey, yeah, it's pretty hot here on this bridge. Wind still. Feels much warmer here with the sun's back out. There's the view down Columbus to the Roosevelt skyline. I'm on my lunch break here, so that's why I filmed 15 minutes of the Symphony. It was easy for me to just sit there and rest my feet here. Right across the bridgeway here. Connects Maggie Daly Park to Millennium Park. Look at that beautiful skyline view there. So I have a day job. This is my lunch break. I work for an architecture engineering firm. Usually in the morning we just walk to work on TikTok. In the evening we walk home on TikTok. We got so many live streamers. I saw Jody TV was down in Chinatown too. He was actually riding the train. He hopped on it and rode it like on the outside, like hanging on to it. It was great. And I'm still posting reruns from Humboldt Park. We were out there at the National Museum for Puerto Rican Art and Culture there. Still showing some of the art galleries in the hayloft there with Chris and our guide there, that local artist there that actually has artwork in the museum. It was so great for him to show us around, a real person in real life showing us around the real museum there. Here's the skyline of Chicago. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a good Tuesday. We're just heading through, yeah, engineering and architecture there. So too many comments are flying by. Yeah, Joshua, we're going to treat you like a bot. It seems like you just got O-Block on the brain there, which is great. There's so much content about O-Block. You know, there's well-researched documentaries, 2-hour-long documentaries. on YouTube explain it better than me. I've gone there. I don't feel the need to go there every single day for the rest of my life. Just move in. You know, I learned from Humboldt Park. The people, they let me know I was considered to be a hillbilly from Wisconsin, a gentrifier. I'm not welcome. No, that's joking. They were just giving me a good ribbing there, which is good, because that's how our U.S. government is treating the museum there. Intimidation with ICE showing up, which is stupid, because Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens, as we know, and we were talking about it with the people in the community there. Just plain intimidation by people, Americans wearing masks, trying to protect our freedom by wearing masks and not showing their identity and throwing people in the back of vans. It's very strange times we're living through here. So it was so great to go down there. They said more people showed up to the Barrio Festival. They doubled their numbers from last year. So whatever intimidation was trying to be done by ICE, it backfired. More people showed up to the festival. More people supported the community. Chicagoans of all ethnicities came out to support our friends there and neighbors in Humboldt Park, and we're not going to be intimidated because Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. That is stupid. Just because they're connected to the Latino culture doesn't mean you intimidate American citizens by showing up to the parking lot and asking to do surveillance on a museum so you can throw people in the back of a van. And it's going to get real now, because I don't mean to bring up political things here, but people do in the comments. This is my channel. If you can't stand it, I don't know how you stand to watch anything, you know. Think what I'm dealing with. We deal with all kinds of things here. Here's the climbing walls. So somebody yesterday was asking about the climbing walls in Maggie Daly Park here. See, they got in this wintertime, this is an ice skating rink, of course, and then in summertime you can use these climbing walls there to test your rappelling skills and climbing skills. And we'll head over to Lakeshore East here, and here we'll get you some views of the skyline. We'll walk down in the lawn here. You see, there's picnic tables here. Maggie Daly Park, nothing big. Grant Park, Chicago. We were checking out the Symphony here, but that was great. I really enjoyed walking through Humboldt Park. Chris and I got a good lunch there, and I still got some more clips to cut out. I got to cut out the Puerto Rican flags there, and we went to the pavilion there, which has nice views to the pond near the bathing beach there. I know there's E. coli issues there sometimes, but people always point out the obvious things. At least they got the water there. People were swimming. I grew up swimming in ponds and lakes and rivers, so you know, your body can tolerate that to a certain point. How did our ancestors survive? You know, living in the frontier there. People would die of milk disease. That's how Abraham Lincoln's mother died. His biological mother, Nancy Hanks, there, she died of milk disease. They would milk the cows, and there was a bacteria in the cow milk. And it was hard, you know. But here this is a shady spot, and I'm glad I found this shady spot to walk through the park here. It's like we're in the woods here. It doesn't seem like we're in the middle of an urban park here. But hey, we'll go down into that gap there. What time we got here? 12:28 here. Yeah, Pop Mart there. Yeah, do I ever show the bean? No, that's it. We never show the bean. The easiest thing for me to film here at lunchtime is right near where I work. But here, we'll look at that view to the sky. How you doing there, Kevin? There. Hey, the Tigers are doing good. So yeah, who won the Raleigh? His name was Raleigh. He won the home run hitting contest there for the All-Star break. I guess the All-Star game, is it tonight or this week? There's the All-Star game. Look at that beautiful view. Sears Tower there, the Loop of Chicago, Smurfit Stone building. Yeah, let's head around here. See, there's elevators, there's parking underneath there. This is all green roof. Maggie Daly Park, even the ice skating ribbon, there's parking underneath it. Isn't that amazing? And Yeah, you got it, Tony. Yeah, the Maggie Daly Park turns to the ice skating rink in wintertime. We film it in wintertime. Here's a map. So see, Maggie Daly Park is everything east of Columbus. Here's the lake. Here's Monroe Harbor. This is the ice skating ribbon. See here? These are climbing walls. We're right here. There's tennis courts, a big playground. We walked across this bridge. This is where the Symphony was playing over here. And see, you can go down in the parking garage. Monroe Harbor's over here. And I think that's where they're going to start. The Mackinac race is going to start this week too. They race up the sailboats. They go overnight. They race up to Mackinac Island. The Mackinac race. Most people in Chicago know what that is. And here we'll head into Lakeshore East here. There's the Jeannie Gang designed St. Regis Hotel building, which is also mainly condos, mainly residential in the upper floors, very expensive real estate. The tallest building designed by a female architect in the world that I know of. Here it is, St. Regis, 1,100 feet tall. And you will also be able to see the Aqua Cancer Survivor Plaza here. That's where they got the columns. And here you can see where Randolph, the lower part of Randolph. See, there's two levels below. And here we'll head across the street here. We'll head right into Lakeshore East here. Look at that nice view you get of the skyline here from Randolph here. As you head into Lakeshore East. And yeah, let's head down here. There's some nice fountains and stuff. See, we were here last Thursday. They got a pool in that dome there. It's for this condo building. It's shaped like a T from above there. Yeah, the little park by the harbor. Yeah, there's a nice little park down there. And yeah, we go there. There's sometimes the one by the DuSable Harbor. Yeah, there's a little cafe down there. Yeah, we might get over there. It's 12:31. Yeah, we'll tootle around Lakeshore East, and then we'll walk out towards the lake, and then we'll head along the Riverwalk there. We'll see the development progress of the 400 Lakeshore, but I don't think I'm going to cross the river. I think I'm going to stay on the south bank of the river there. We'll just walk by all those outdoor beer gardens there along the stretch of the Riverwalk there east of Michigan Avenue. But here we're in Lakeshore East here. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. We started off with a little concert there in the park. We're practicing for the Grant Park Orchestra. There's the Aqua, so that's the other building in this area designed by Jeannie Gang, a Chicago-based architect. There's the Aeon. It's been there for a while. It used to be the Standard Oil building. Here, I'll show you this park while I get a drink of water here. Oh, that water's really hot. But here, we'll head right down there. We'll head down to those fountains. And if we walk this way, see, here's Alvey in the park. There's a Mariano's over here. They got a nice roof terrace for seating. It's a Greek restaurant. The park at Lakeshore East, they're a gift to the people. Yeah. So again, this used to be railroad yards in the old days. There was a 3-hole golf course here when I moved here in 1999. It was a driving range here. This was land banked. For many years, they were trying to develop this as housing. It finally took hold after the 2000s. Here, look at these trees here. We'll head right down through here. This is Lakeshore East, Chicago, Illinois. How you doing here? Here's a dog park down here. Sit under the shade here. Yeah. You hear the bullfrog, yeah. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah, fortunately, not that I know of, there's not any Frank Lloyd Wright architecture near downtown. Like, Manhattan has the Guggenheim and other things that are right in Midtown Manhattan, but Chicago, most of the Frank Lloyd Wrights are residential. Most of them are in Oak Park, Forest Park. No, Park Forest, excuse me. You got Forest Park and Park Forest. I always get those confused. But then there are a few on the south side of Chicago. There's the Roby House down by the University of Chicago, and there's another house there in Hyde Park. There's actually 2 in Kenwood, and there's one in Bronzeville in the Douglas neighborhood. There's a Frank Lloyd Wright, but it's just an apartment building, and most people wouldn't even recognize his work because it was really early. But hey, look at that bulldog there. See, here's the dog park. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get out to Oak Park eventually. I'm mainly filming stuff in the city first. There's areas of the city I haven't covered yet. We talked about this. See, I'm gonna get stuck in here. I always walk in here and I get stuck in they got fencing here. They don't want people walking through here. But here, see Eggy's Diner. They got some Mariano's. You go up to the second and third. See, they got a outdoor area. You can sit outside. They got a grab and go, pay by the pound food court. Mariano's, if you buy a raw steak or piece of chicken, they'll cook it for you and you can eat it right there on the premises. Isn't that nice? A lot of restaurants do that. I guess Whole Foods does that too, but I don't shop at Whole Foods. Here's Lakeshore East here. See, they got some housing, and we'll walk along these fountains and we'll walk to the other side there. Yeah, nice dog there, nice pups there. Yeah, Garfield Park's nice. They got the Garfield Park Conservatory. I usually go there in wintertime. J City Walking Girl goes over there. Drew's gone over there. We'll get back there eventually. Nice park there. And then there's East Garfield Park, West Garfield Park, the neighborhood that's on your side of the park there on the west side. Look at these fountains here. We're in Lakeshore East. This is stuff near where I work. So I'm on my lunch break. So that's why I'm here now. I got to stay close to the office there. A lot of people work from home, but I work from the office. Just how it works for me. Here's look at that. Yeah, look at that nice water fountain, waterfalls here. Nice. The same thing we did. I listened to the Symphony there. See, pretty much my life as a live streamer is pretty much what my life was before I live streamed. People are like, man, you walk a lot. Well, I walked a lot before live streaming. I just didn't stream it. Now I found a way to use it to engage with people, talk about the city. And there, yeah, we'll head across here. Yeah, Bernadette there. Yeah, whole paycheck. Yeah, Whole Foods half off and take your whole paycheck. Expensive foods. Whole Foods. You can shop there if you really like Jeff Bezos. Here's hey, water fountain here. Yeah, it looks like they're working on the landscaping over there. I didn't notice that when we came over in that way. Hey, you got a Divvy bike station here. Here's this St. Regis. Yeah, let's head over here. So I was on the west side on Sunday. Where were you at? See, why weren't you watching my live stream on Sunday? We were in Humboldt Park all afternoon there. It's the west side of Chicago, the true west side. Don't tell me Humboldt Park's not the west side of Chicago. And we went to the National Museum of Puerto Rican Art and Culture. We went over the Puerto Rican flags there. We had lunch there. We talked to the business owners. We saw Dan Cruz, who flies his drone there. But, you know I got requests to go to Douglas Park and Garlis Park immediately when I was in Humboldt Park because people saw I was on the west side. And those areas are undercovered by live streamers. I agree. But my experience, I got 280 videos on the south and west side. We've gone to the Sox home opener. I walked through Canaryville, Bronzeville, Woodlawn, Jackson Park, Pullman. Watch those videos, until you've exhausted my content. Don't give me directions where to go. I might have already filmed it, and I know you want to watch it live, but I know it can't be everything everywhere at once. How many times we got to go over this? There's the fountains here. I'm going to have to go over it every day for the rest of my life. There's the, yeah, look at these nice fountains here. Yeah, let's head over to the lake here. There's a little dog park. I'm not going to walk up the stairs today. We'll stay down below. We'll stay in the shade. And here we're in Lakeshore East here. What you see is what you're going to get. I don't get paid enough by you or TikTok or anybody else to take directions, treat me like a horse. I can't believe what people really expect here. Let's head around here. Yeah, Tony Moy. Yeah, there's a big mixed-use residential and commercial development planned and approved. It's controversial, but lots to me as a city planner, underground deck, use the land above it to build something. Barry Reinsdorf, the people that have interest in the Blackhawks and the Bulls. And there's transit that goes right through there. There's the Pink Line. Eventually I'm sure they would love to build another stop on the Pink Line right there at Madison or something, so you could get off. There is a new stop on the Green Line at Damon. We filmed it. We got footage of it. If you're interested to see it, send me a message. I'll show you the video we did at the Damon stop last year when it opened. Got it like almost 1,000 likes on it. And I know it's hard to find content. It's impossible to find stuff on TikTok. But yeah, they want to develop mixed-use housing, both market rate and some affordable, because the city's going to mandate that some of it's going to be affordable. The Henry Horner Homes used to be there. It was a giant public housing development that they tore down, just like Cabrini Green and Stateway Gardens and Robert Taylor Homes. And they redeveloped some of that. Some of that used to be the Henry Horner Homes. There is housing there now. They have replaced some of the affordable housing, and that's near the Damon stop on the Green Line. And there is some market rate. People are worried about gentrification, as with any of these mega developers. Just like it looks like Lincoln Yards is probably not going forward. The 78 on the South Loop, probably what saved it is the owner of the Chicago Fire, at his own expense, his own investment, is planning to build another soccer only stadium there in the South Loop. So the 78 might have saved the 78. They're going to build some housing and some other things down there and extend the Riverwalk from the South Loop all the way to Chinatown. Wouldn't that be nice? And we'll keep you up to date with that. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're underneath the DuSable Lakeshore Drive here. We're heading to the lakefront. We got 1242. We just tootled around. We heard the Symphony play a little bit there in the Millennium Park, and we went through Lakeshore East. So now we're going to head to the lakefront. There's a nice cafe over here, Michelle Cafe, and you can see the boats here by the harbor, DuSable Harbor. And here's the bike path. And there's the bike path there. And see, there's a green roof above this cafe. And that's what that guy's doing, push-ups there. Yeah, I'll show you this green roof. There's the Columbia Yacht Club. Well, they're checking it out here. Yeah. So here we'll show you the cafe. They're standing on the steps. I don't want to. They're like blocking exactly the place I want to walk here. But here's here's DuSable Harbor. There's the Columbia Yacht Club. And you see on top of it, there's a green roof right there. And there you can see the 400 North Lakeshore. But here's this nice cafe, Cafe Michelle here. Get some gelato and stuff. Here's all the boats here at DuSable Harbor. Yeah, Virginia, what's the deal with O Block? Why do I get asked every single day to go to O Block? I've gone to O Block. I've gone to O Block 3 times, and I got reruns on it. Why is it so important to me to go to it right now? I'm on my lunch break at work, and I think you want to make some other points that have something to do with something other than O Block. Here's all O Block all the time. Imagine, you would think someone would like just dedicate their whole channel to O Block if it was so profitable. If it was really so profitable and you can monetize and exploit the hip-hop community without being part of the hip-hop community or be living in Parkway Gardens, you know, wouldn't you feel like people complain when I go to the zoo? They're like, oh, the horrible animals there. Why are you exploiting the animals? You know, I know this is part of, I can't relate this to human beings. I like the people in Parkway Gardens. I'm friends and neighbors. I went down there. I talked to people, and they said, why are you down here streaming on TikTok? They said, we don't want you down here streaming. These are people that live in Parkway Gardens because they feel exploited, used, stereotyped. And I went down there. I talked to them. Maybe I talked to the wrong people. Maybe the people you talk to, they're like, we wish some live streamers would come down. There's some middle-aged guy from Lincoln Park would come down here and exploit our content and not give back to the community. I'd rather give back to the community anonymous, help the kids build community gardens there. Are you interested in after school Head Start programs? Are you interested in funding empowerment zones and black-owned businesses. Are you interested in any of that? You know, I'm all for that. Watch Keys Carter. He talks about it. He talks about gentrification. He grew up in Chatham and Inglewood. He can bring more perspective to it than I ever can. You know, I'm an outsider. I'm not a native Chicagoan. I moved here in 1999. People call me a what do they call that? I can't even think of what it's called. Somebody that, a gentrifier. Here's just because I moved to the city and pay taxes and don't bash it like everybody else does and try to promote it. And not that I want to get you to live here, spend your money here. Just cities are interesting to me. Cities, we have a lot of problems. Chicago has a lot of problems. I might be part of the problem, you know. I'm trying to understand it here. Here's the Coast Guard station. Look at that. Transplant. Yeah, I'm a transplant there. Yeah, you can look down on me. If you feel better calling me a transplant, call me a transplant all you want. If you feel, you know, superior to me and somehow you're worth more than me because you lived in one area of your life the whole time and never moved, that's great. Good for you. Here's Navy Pier. But cities, people always move in and out of cities. What do people expect? You know, people look at all the, even if you're a native Chicagoan, unless you're indigenous, unless you're Potawatomi or indigenous Native American, your ancestors came here from somewhere else, either forced or not forced. You know, people that came over in the antebellum era. I know not everybody had the choice, but you're Americans here, you know, and we got, you're free to move about the country. Here, look at the Coast Guard station there. That's what adds to innovation. Think of, like, look at Bob Dylan. So Bob Dylan, most people associate Bob Dylan with New York City. Bob Dylan grew up in the northern part of Minnesota. He grew up out in the middle of nowhere. Did he stay there? No, he went to New York City to become part of the beat folk music scene. He was able to reinvent himself in New York City. Did people fault? No, they accepted him as a New Yorker. People lived in Greenwich Village. People didn't even know he was from Minnesota because he didn't tell them. He created a whole new identity. That wasn't even his real name. He changed his name. And that was part of what America used to be about. I feel like we're losing that, where people, you know, we're in this strange, like, nativist weirdo period here. Here's the 400 North Lakeshore. Look at that development there. We got 1248 here. Yeah, we'll just head along the Riverwalk here. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we always walk through here. Usually we walk the other way. There we saw Navy Pier. We saw the 400. You're seeing Bob Dylan next week. He's still touring. Isn't that amazing? That is great. Oh, that's awesome, Scott. I'm glad you're going to see him there. Yeah, Complete Unknown. Watch that. Watch that movie. You see all Pete Seeger. You see Woody Guthrie, the father of Arlo Guthrie. You know, you see Joan, what was her name? Joan Collins, all these folk singers, you know. Judy Collins, I got to think their names there, you know. And Joan Baez, you know. Look at the relationship between Bob Dylan and Joan Baez. Joan Baez was an established folk singer, well respected. And here comes this guy out of nowhere, Bob Dylan. She's like, why does this guy get all the accolades? I've been here in the trenches here, Peter, Paul, and Mary, all the other folk singers that blazed, Pete Seeger, you know, Mahalia Jackson, you know, the original folk singers. But Bob Dylan was a part of that. Newport Folk Festival, watch that movie. Hey, let's catch these boats going by here. So, hey, welcome to Chicago. Here, the Chicago River here. We're walking along the Riverwalk. There it is, the 400 North Lakeshore. There it is. Look at that. Cities are places where people can reinvent themselves. They can come here and become artists, musicians, and meet new people from all over the world, get new ideas, exposed to a very cosmopolitan worldview here. Look at that. You don't need to be real provincial. Here's the Star of Chicago. Here's the Giddy Up water taxi. Yeah. Hey, 12:50 here. Let's head along. Look at the nice plants here. Chicago Riverwalk. We'll walk along the kayaks here. It's pretty hot in the sun, upper 80s now. It feels like 86. But there's the 400 North Lakeshore. That used to be the Chicago Spire site, and that's the northern tower. There's supposed to be a southern tower that they haven't even started. And there's much debate whether they're even going to do it or not. Like Taco Rio here, they got this. Look at these beautiful flowers here. Flowers here along the banks of the Chicago River. Look, you can look all the way to the Wrigley building there. Yeah, Strawberry Fields Forever. Yeah, what a beautiful song there. Yeah, taking pictures there. Yeah, he's catching the boat coming through there. That's a good shot there, yeah. See, look. Chicago's First Lady there. Heading by the bridge house there. That's Lake Point Tower. Yeah, Alexander, Chicago, he has a good video about Lake Point Tower and how it's the only tower east of Lakeshore Drive and how much of a rare occurrence that was for that building to be built there. Here, yeah, let's head along Taco Rio here. Yeah, Oprah, oh yeah, you're right. Oprah used to have a floor there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I heard that too. Thanks for tuning in here. Taco Rio Urban Kayaks here. You can sit out here. See, there's the St. Regis. Hey, yeah, you can play checkers and chess here. They got a little seating cabanas here. Watch the boats go by Taco Rio. You just go up to the window there and order, and they got a bar there. Yeah, look at this nice area here. Alcohol consumption is not permitted beyond this point. Look at this puff, dandelion puff here, giant flower. So urban kayaks, Riverwalk tours. See, there's that jet of water that goes across. We might be able to catch it here. We got 12:52. I'm not for sure if the water cannon's even functioning now, because it was beginning in the spring when they turned it on, but then I haven't seen it. I waited for it on the hour. It's supposed to be on the hour, but I haven't seen it. And here's where you can get training. They'll teach you how to do safety procedures there for your kayak if you rent a kayak. Intro paddle, $45 there. So there's your cost. You go to urbankayaks.com if you want to see what it costs to rent one of these kayaks. Get on the river here if you're so inclined here. They've got these shipping containers that they store the kayaks in. And they got a private dock here where they use to launch the kayaks. It's really nice. You can just roll right down into the water here. Here's where you launch the kayaks here for urban kayaks. Look at that. And then when you get out there, you can come in one side and they can do multiple people at once. That's the Centennial Fountain there. We got reruns on that. We're on the Chicago Riverwalk here, just heading back. 12:43 there. Yeah, oh, there was an arcade on the north side of the pier there, yeah. So there's the Ogden Slip. We go along there, of course, the south side of Navy Pier. But, hey, thanks for the good info there. It's good. You can see the top of the John Hancock there. This is Streeterville, Centennial Fountain there. I moved to Chicago in 1999, so I've been here 26 years, over half my life. And enough to see a lot of the changes. You know, when I was here, Cabrini Green was people were still living in it. And the Robert Taylor homes were not down. We talk about the Henry Horner homes, Stateway Gardens. I remember seeing all those. I came up here in 1994. You could drive on the Dan Ryan for miles. You would see the Robert Taylor homes. They're all gone now. We've gone down. We walk through there, 44th Street, where they begin, go down. There, the old Bronzeville along Federal Avenue there. There's a Centennial Fountain that's looking up McClure Court here. They got a playground. They got a nice monument to the submarines that came through here in World War II from Manitowoc after Pearl Harbor. So here's the 3 levels of Lakeshore Drive. They tow the cars. If your car gets towed downtown, they usually tow it to the lowest level there. It's hard to find. Yeah, Chicago's pretty expensive. I think San Francisco rivals us as far as real estate prices, in LA and Miami, Florida. Miami Beach, Florida, I'm sure is much more expensive than the Gold Coast of Chicago, but because of the nice winter weather. But yeah, we are pretty expensive. We got high taxes, high crime. I'm not trying to get anybody to move here or sell your house. Here's, look, 28 submarines built in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, passed this way under spot the war after Pearl Harbor. And see that bridge? That's the double-decked. That's that bridge right there where that boat just went through. Lila. There's the double-decked Lakeshore Drive Bridge. That's where the submarines came through. Probably went down the Illinois Ship and Sanitary Canal, down the Mississippi, all the way into the Atlantic. Or they might have went out. They wouldn't have come this way unless they were going down to the Gulf and through the Panama Canal, because otherwise they would have just went out the St. Lawrence. They would have went out the St. Lawrence. They would have just stayed out in the lake. They would have actually went up around Mackinac and went out through Erie and Huron and out the St. Lawrence Seaway there around the locks around the Niagara Falls, which was well, see, that wasn't completed till 1950, so they probably came out this way. Maybe they went out this way, went into the Atlantic this way. That might have been why they came this way. That St. Lawrence Seaway wasn't completed until the 1950s, and that's when Queen Victoria came through here on the Queen Mary. But here we'll head over towards the Columbus Bridge here. Maybe when we're heading up the stairs there, if the water jet goes across, we'll be able to see it here. Man, I hope everybody's doing good there. Tony, Sam, Michael. Yeah. People give me requests. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's still cheaper than California too. I agree with you, Tony, there. Yeah, California cities are pretty expensive, especially if you're by the palm trees there. Here's the Lucia heading through here. We'll head by. There's a beer garden here. Yeah, it's a good time in the summer. I agree there, Kevin there. How you doing there? You got a bridge in Chicago you like to sell? Yeah, we need a Brooklyn bridge here in Chicago to sell. Could sell you a Bastille Bridge. Here's Island Party Hut. Yeah, we'll go by the tiki boats here. You can rent these boats. There's Lucia heading by the Sheridan here. Yeah, we got the Island Party Hut boats there. You can sit in a big chair, get you a drink here at the sandbar, hang out with the shark, take a slide into the river there. Yeah, hang out with the shark there. Here comes some kayakers. Hey, he's kayaking in reverse there. There's the guide there. Look at that. So here at 12:58, let's get up on this stairs here. Maybe we can catch the mountain there when it starts there. There's the kayakers. Party time. Big kahuna. But it's getting hot now. Yeah, we'll head to the tiki bar here, Island Party Hut. All these boats that you can rent here. Sit out on the table here. Yeah, Chicago River. Thanks, Tony there. Here comes the Fred A. Bussey here. Look at that. Yeah, the Fred A. Bussey. Look at these kayaks. Look at this river scene here underneath Columbus. Yeah, Chicago's First Lady. All these 3 kayakers, the Fred A. Bussey. It was a fireboat, and they turned it into a touring boat here. So we saw it yesterday, we saw it today. Here's the kayakers. Here, let's get up here a little bit. 12:59. So let's see if the water jet's gonna come on here. We'll go up the stairs here just in case. Here's a map of the Riverwalk here. We'll head up these stairs and we'll keep our eyes focused this way. See if they shoot that water cannon across the river there. It usually goes for about 5 minutes. So we'll be able to see it if we get up higher here. But no guarantee it's gonna. I've waited for it. Sometimes it starts on the hour, sometimes it'll just be off. They'll just run the regular rest part of the fountain there. There, we're at Columbus Drive here, Chicago Riverwalk. Here's the Sheridan. We're gonna go up to this bridge here and see if they shoot off this water cannon. They're scooting along this lower level Wacker Drive here. Yeah, they're shooting it across. There it goes. So hey, we'll get a nice view of the water cannon across the Chicago River here. So they just turned it on. And hey, see, So look, there's the Fred A. Bussey, and here's the Christopher Wheatley. So this is the working fireboat. This is a real working fireboat. There's the shoreline. See how it's turned sideways, and we'll get a view of it here. Look at so there's the Christopher Wheatley passing the Fred A. Bussey, 2 fireboats there, and there's the water jet, the water cannon from the Centennial Fountain there. We'll see if the Christopher Wheatley heads underneath it here. So we're looking towards the lake here. This is the Chicago River. See, here's the St. Regis here, and hey, look at the boats going over the water cannon there, the Centennial Fountain there. Yeah, nice scene there. Yeah, who's using us as Tinder? People are hard up if they're using my channel here. Yeah, where's the chemtrails? All we got is water jets. Look how they're sitting under the water. They want to cool off. They're actually getting wet there. Look, they're actually they position the boat to actually get wet there. Look at that. This boat's heading the other way. Yeah. But hey, we got it there. Thanks for tuning in here. You see where we're at here. See, there's the view to the Trump Tower and the Wrigley Building. We're on the Columbus. There's the Aon there. Look at the kayakers. Oh, it's turning around. Look, it's turning around. The Christopher Wheatley, I think they're using the water to hose off their boat. Here comes the Star of Chicago. Look at it. It's turning around right in the water jet there. Look at that. So hey, if you just tune in, we're in Chicago. We're looking at the Chicago River. Here's I'm out of focus here. They got 2 fireboats there. The Christopher Wheatley's the one underneath the water jet. The Fred A. Bussey is hanging back because they got passengers. But look at that. It's spinning around there. It's putting on a show. There's the Christopher Wheatley there. Look at that. Hey, there's the Star of Chicago head through there. There's the Sheridan Hotel. Yeah, amazing day in Chicago. So look at all that water coming off of it. Look at all the water coming off the top there. You got doused with water there. Hey, we saw the cannon there, so I'm going to head back to work. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the Chicago River here. Have a great day. Thanks, mods. You guys are great. And we'll be on after 5 o'clock tonight. Mary Therese gave me a good trick there. I'm going to try to put Chicago on the screen there, so we'll still get people ask where it's at, even though it's on the screen there, I'm sure, just to taunt me. So hey, have a good day there. Appreciate it. Lunch Bunch there. Check out the full rerun there on the live tab there on YouTube. We'll be on TikTok after tonight. Brian Really Chicago. Have a great day here from the Chicago Riverwalk. We'll see you soon. Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah.